to all of you who have joined. I think this is so far the biggest group I've seen to yet another value talk evening. Myself, Vikas Bodani. I'm a software professional. I run a company and a software service called Simple Billing from the city called Pink City, Jaipur. And today's topic, again, I'm picking a real estate topic. We are joined by our real estate expert at Value Talks, Vipul Choudhary. Vipul has extensive experience in the real estate industry. We all know that, and multi-city experience of real estate sales and finance. So let me introduce the topic and explain a little bit about it. The topic is called plots versus apartments. Which is a better investment? Quite often, when this is a learning experience for myself as well. But it's a question in an investor's mind when you're going to when you're thinking about a real estate investment is which is a better investment as a plot of land, which could include any size of the plot, big or small. And in the big size, I think I'll let people decide if you can include both agricultural and non-agricultural land, and versus a constructed property. This is quite often a dilemma to decide for an investor, right? I describe plots as a plot of land which is unconstructed, could be both agricultural, non-agricultural, but we'll let the expert decide what is the scope of the discussion. And it's versus a constructed building, which could be a house or a commercial building. So the question is, what are the criteria? And we'll explore different aspects related to investing between these two options. So Vipul, starting with a very high level question, what in investors' mind, which of the two options will yield better returns?
Okay. Now this will depend on majorly on two things. One is the time horizon the investor has in mind, and second, how the money is coming. When I say money is coming, implies is the investor putting own money or is the investor raising capital through bank funding?
I
So
see.
When combine these two things is what will only then I'll be able to decide what is a better investment for me, plot or an apartment. When I say that, so in terms of time horizon, when I say in newer areas, say right now, like you're in Jaipur, you're staying in an area which is at the outskirts of Jaipur. If we go further 10 kilometers ahead, or let's say in Gurgaon, if we go further ahead of Manesar, or on this side slightly ahead of Sohna, or if we are talking about Greater Noida, then slightly ahead of the present habitation, say another 5, 7, 10 kilometers. The challenge which a builder faces is that if they start selling plots and expect people to build in it, that does not happen. Just do a thought experiment with me here. Imagine you go 10 kilometers ahead of where you are living right now on that particular road, and you come across a vast stretch of land which is not habitated. And I tell you to buy a 500 square yard plot there and construct a house, and then go and stay there with your family. How comfortable would you feel?
Yeah, definitely. That will not be an option people would choose. Depends. I guess it also a lot of it depends on the person themselves, right? So.
Right, about 90% of the people who come to a new city, say Gurgaon or Noida, etc., they're not who are here, who are born and brought up here. And those who are buying properties in the outer area.
I understand the kind of the situation you're creating. So what is the point really that you're saying that if you're going farther, the time horizon has to be larger in terms of the question was which.
When we are going farther, what happens is the builder by the design of the demand. The demand is such that for farther areas or the newer areas, builder initially has to build housing societies so that he is able to sell his product at a price which fetches him a margin. If he only sells plots, then there is hardly any value add which the builder is able to do. Therefore, his margins can get reduced. So the builders initially in newer areas, they build apartments, and you will find that residents also are able to initial investors are also people who will either reside in those apartments or who expect a tenant to come and join in those apartments. So when you are buying a plot in a newer area, which is still to develop over the period of next 20, 30 years, the plots themselves will not see a lot of construction happening. And for a very long time, it is the apartments which have to be built and inhabited, and the density in that general area increases. After which people start constructing houses on those plots. तो पहले वो जब घर भर जब सोसाइटीज में लोग आने लग जाएंगे, उनकी वजह से आसपास का सोशल एंड कमर्शियल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलप होगा, फिर प्लॉट्स इक्का दुक्का बनने लगते हैं, देन दैट डेंसिटी इंक्रीज. इसका मतलब ये है, इसका इम्प्लीकेशन क्या है कि अगर हम नए एरियाज में प्लॉट्स खरीदते हैं तो हमारा जेस्टेशन पीरियड लंबा होता है बिफोर we are able to sell those plots at a profit. For a very long time, those plots may not give you an expected return. They may actually be just available at an inflation kind of increase over a period of time. Because अभी उनकी उतनी डिमांड नहीं, उतनी लिक्विडिटी नहीं. On the other hand, in established areas, let's say अगर आज मैं गुड़गांव की बात कर लेता हूँ या दिल्ली की बात करता हूँ, तो जो एस्टैब्लिश एरिया है गुड़गांव सेक्टर 14, पालम विहार, DLF फेज 1 एक्सेट्रा, विच आर एस्टैब्लिश्ड एरियाज, यहाँ पर प्लॉट अगर आप कोई रीजनेबल वैल्यू का खरीद लेते हैं, so your flip around can be very fast. It becomes a liquid asset. In 3 to 5 years, you'll be able to flip it around. On the other hand, यहाँ पर जो अपार्टमेंट्स होते हैं, जो हाई राइज बिल्डिंग्स हैं या अपार्टमेंट्स बने हुए, they are rather old and already peaked in value because they have been peaking in value for last 20, 30 years. So they have covered that journey which I'm telling you a new area would cover. So there, here you find the apartments are older in the fact that they were built 20, 30 years ago. So when I say time horizon, if I'm buying a plot in a newer area, my time horizon should be 20 plus years. And if my time horizon is less than that, I should be investing in an apartment. If it is in an established area, then my time horizon for plot can be 5 to 8 years, and for the apartment it reverses. There it would be 15 to 20 years.
Okay, Vipul, मैं step back पीछे लेना चाहता हूँ in the sense I want to start. I understand कि जो the response you gave is very logical कि, but क्या हम लोग एक same page पे हैं in terms of what is the definition plot का क्या मतलब है?
Okay, plot is where you have a piece of land which needs to be developed. It can be anything. It can be a residential plot, it can be a commercial plot, it can be a industrial plot. But whatever it is, even if it is an industrial development which is taking place, there also, जैसे जैसे आप दूर जाते हैं, अगर आज हम NCR की बात करते हैं, so when industries are shifting, गुड़गांव के अंदर now industries are in Manesar, bigger industries, but there are still industries.
प्लॉट एम्प्टी हो गया, ठीक है, एम्प्टी लैंड हो गया. अब दूर और पास की बात नहीं करते हुए मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है, एंड अ वेरी पॉइंटेड इज एन एम्प्टी पीस ऑफ लैंड जिसमें कोई चीज कंस्ट्रक्टेड नहीं है, तो उसकी वैल्यू को हम बिल्डिंग से कंपेयर भी कैसे कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि बिल्डिंग में तो कुछ वैल्यू ऐड हो चुकी है, राइट? और वो प्लॉट तो
मैं ये नहीं बोला कि वैल्यू कंपेयर कर रहे हैं विकास. यू आस्क्ड मी क्वेश्चन व्हिच इज अ बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट.
So,
So to
your
that I reply,
answer is it
depending on
depends.
the area,
Yeah. Okay.
depending on the area and the time horizon I want to make an investment with, that is going to determine what is going to be a investment suitable to me. And second factor which I said was source of money. If it is my own money, let's say, whatever may be the source, I earn so much that I'm able to buy real estate from my own money, or if it is if the source of money is my own money or maximum money is my own money, then my preference should be buying a plot. If I am short of funds and I'm basing my investment on 80 to 90% on bank funding, then my obvious choice has to be apartments. So it's not about what is a better investment or what will yield better results. It is what will be more suitable depending on my source of money and my time horizon.
Hmm. ठीक है. So there's a difference in the risk profile of the two investments also, right? I think risk profile नहीं horizon ही is the right difference क्योंकि you
Correct.
can't really be relying on
Correct.
a loan resource to fund a
In
long
real
term.
estate, because if you're buying a project or a property which has been delivered, you have delivery of the property, whether it is a plot or a constructed anything. And if there are no legal disputes, it's marketable, then real estate poses you a risk that the price may not increase for a certain time. Besides that, real estate does not pose you a risk by the nature of asset class. Real estate is not business that it will stop performing or it will stop selling or it will become obsolete. It cannot be replaced by technology.
Correct. So
the only risk in real estate is that you make an investment today, it might happen for next 5 years because of a subdued demand or because of the fact that that particular area does not have buyers for reasons we'll get into some other discussion someday. You may not see a price escalation or you may not be able to sell your property. Besides that, there is no risk in real estate.
So, can we discuss advantages of investing in plots compared to? Can we first individually?
What I'll do is I have some handwritten notes. I'll share that with you. And I'm not too good in terms of presentations and all, so I have some handwritten notes.
Okay. Is that something you want to read from?
Yeah, I'll just, you want the advantages for plots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can discuss. So,
Okay. So plots, you're saying that there are about roughly five advantages, and you're saying easy.
these are the 5 broad advantages of buying plots. One, it's a very low maintenance affair. You just buy a piece of land and then you don't need to maintain anything about it. There's nothing you can maintain about land. Unless until you are a tiller, unless until you are a farmer, land does not need maintenance. It cannot, nothing can be taken out of a land.
That's great.
With time, the density of any area will increase. That's a given. Because population on the planet has continuously increased over the last 2000 years or more than that. Therefore, whenever the density in an area increases, it continues to increase the inherent price of the land which is there. One. Second, जैसे जैसे density बढ़ती है, तो and here we are discussing mostly about licensed properties. So जो government authorities जो licensing करते हैं, वो लोग क्या करते हैं इसमें? They keep on increasing the allowable construction on a piece of land. So आज मेरे पास में मान लीजिए 100 एकड़ का 100 स्क्वायर यार्ड्स का प्लॉट था जिसपे मैं 100 स्क्वायर यार्ड बना सकता था because it was an outside area and the allowed FAR was 1. After 10 years, if the allowed FAR is 2, then I get increase in my property in two ways. One, the price has increased because the density has increased in that particular area. पॉपुलेशन बढ़ गई है, जनसंख्या. दूसरा, वहां गवर्नमेंट ने भी अब एफआईआर ज्यादा अलाउ कर दिए, तो अगर मैं पहले उस पर एक तल्ला बना सकता था, अब मैं उसके ऊपर 2 माले बना सकता हूँ. सो माई आई एम एबल टू डिराइव मोर वैल्यू आउट ऑफ द पर्टिकुलर प्रॉपर्टी. थर्ड एडवांटेज इज land is an indestructible asset. You cannot destroy it. It's a very good storage of wealth. If I have some money today and I want to just park it and forget it for next 20, 30 years and not be bothered about the fact that, land cannot be destroyed by an act of God also. Let's take it like that. So it gives me that security that I can just park my money there and forget about it and nothing will happen. I mean, land is the raw material of real estate. That is where real estate starts. The next advantage is that if it is a project which is being delivered by a builder, then builder practically does not have much to do. The demarcation of land, laying some basic sewerage lines, and putting electricity poles, etc. So the development aspect or the value add at the builder's level is very low. Therefore, the delivery of the project is less complicated and less riskier. And if I'm buying a plot for constructing my own property, the added advantage is that I can construct it to suit my personal desires and needs, and I'm not really constrained by what a builder is giving me if I'm doing my own construction. And that can be for anything. It can be for a commercial property, it can be for a industry, it can be for my own home usage. Because it is raw material which I can mold as per my needs and desires. So I would say these are the top 5 advantages which plot gives to an investor or oblique a user.
Okay, that's an eye opener, Vipul. Those are really very useful things to know. कोई disadvantages हैं? Because यहाँ पे सिर्फ advantage.
I would say every coin has two sides. So yes, there are disadvantages. मैं आपको वो भी again a handwritten note when you had asked me for this talk, so I had prepared some handwritten notes. So
yeah, that's good.
These are the disadvantages of. Just a sec. So these are the disadvantages. One, financing is expensive. Even if I'm able to raise a loan from banks, the rate of interest is higher as compared to a normal housing loan, maybe even by 1%, but if it is a longer period loan and a compounded rate of interest, that's also a high rate of interest. On a plot without development, I do not get the tax benefits under Section 24 and Section 80, etc. Duration generally for a plotted development is lesser as compared to an apartment where banks might give you 20-30 years also of loan. In a plot, they'll typically give 10 to 15 years. And then the percentage which a bank will give me for financing, let's say if the plot is worth 1 CR, I'll not get more than 60 to 70%, whereas in an apartment, I can get even up till 90% of the financing. So financing is expensive. Then a plot, till the time it is not developed, will not give me cash flows or very, very meager cash flows. I mean, unless until someone uses your plot for maybe, some usage is possible, but that cash flow is not something I can actually build into my investments. Definitely. And then if it is this can happen. The third risk is more for where you have illegal, or if you are buying something in an unauthorized development, where it is not in licensed colony, it's not as per the norms of the development body of that particular area, then there is a risk that someone might encroach your land. वो घोसला का घोसला टाइप की आप गए और वहां पर एक लठ लेकर के राजवीर सिंह खड़ा है. So that is a possibility. And then fourth, it sounds good to construct a house, but construction is a very, very tedious task. So not everyone, when it comes to end user, may have the capability to execute housing or any other kind of a project execution.
Right. So इसमें major advantages ये हैं कि there's a compounding effect, ठीक है? Advantages जो हैं compounding effect है, और disadvantages ये हैं कि there is no cash flow, and bigger one is कि financing is expensive. So
Absolutely.
then of course there are other disadvantages as well. But given the same amount of money, or we should not, if we I think you said that then depends on the financing. अगर आपके पास same amount है, तो you mentioned that you would prefer plots क्योंकि आपके पास आप खुद invest कर रहे हैं, right? Okay. ठीक है, we'll move on for now. Can we do the same analysis of apartments?
So let me just share the advantages which apartments provide. Apartments, if I buy an apartment today, it can give me an immediate cash flow. In the sense, I'll start getting an immediate rental. Or if I'll not say an apartment, it could be any constructed building. Constructed buildings will usually find users, and I'll be able to get a immediate cash flow. Then, especially in housing apartments or residential apartments, financing is quite easy. Easy availability of loans are there, up till 80 to 90%. The rate of interest is lowest across all kinds of loans available, and home loan is the cheapest loan available, and for almost the longest tenure. Now banks are offering even up till 20 to 30%, up till 20 to 30%, which is a fairly long duration. And then 80 to 90% of the asset can be taken as you can raise capital, borrow capital for up till 80 to 90% of the asset. Tax rebate is available both under Section 80C and Section 24 of the income tax. Further, a housing society, especially the ones which are being developed now, they become immediately livable even if they are at in the outer skirts of the city, because of the amenities and the common shared development which builders do. They'll typically make the community hall and the swimming pools and gated compound, etc., which makes a housing society immediately livable, even though it may be at a distance from the city center. And obviously, it saves an individual the hassles of doing construction themselves, and so an apartment is more affordable for a lot of people because of these factors. It saves you the hassle of construction and gets you the common amenities, and so the cost of those amenities and facilities are shared amongst a lot of people.
So वहाँ की जो disadvantages थी, यहाँ advantages बन गई. Mostly जो इसमें major advantage है वो financing side की है, right? कि आपका, and then finance is the key around your investment, and discussion investment oriented है, तो finance is the key, and वो जो advantages हैं बहुत ज़्यादा हैं यहाँ पे. Tax rebates, cash flow, financing, majority portion you can finance and so on. So I don't think the question is about livability or not. Those can kind of the advantages are kind of debatable, really, honestly. Depends on how, where, and what kind of things are. So then I guess the disadvantages जो वहाँ की advantages थी यहाँ disadvantage होंगी. Can we see that as well? क्योंकि compounding नहीं होगी, जो amount of returns हैं वो same.
Compounding hoga, may not, the rate may not be exactly what you're looking at. One is that with time the building will age and depreciate.
कितने साल में value zero हो जाएगी?
Building. Okay. So typically RCP construction and now the newer MIVAN technology, they are okay with 50-60 years of a structural strength also, wherein no civil refitment is required unless until there is a major earthquake or a major damage to the building. An RCC construction building or a MIVAN construction, is done with an idea that the building will last for half a century or 60 odd years. But still, with aging of the building, other things, say plumbing, electrical fitments, some wear and tear, regular paint, etc., needs to be done because the building is aging with time. Then, if the builder which is constructed has not done a good job while constructing, then due to the quality of construction, maintenance costs can be very high because building is a living organism. It is consuming things on a daily basis. People are using it. There are residents. There are users. Could be, people are using a building. It is being used, so it is undergoing a wear and tear on a regular basis.
So quality of construction
Then,
is considered as a disadvantage because majority people have an experience quality of construction is not up to the mark compared to what you do yourself.
and you have to bear the cost. You have to bear the cost over a period of time if the quality of construction is not.
Starting with not just the structural repair, but painting is also not up to the mark. बहुत सारे issues हो सकते हैं, right? I think these advantages need to be highlighted in a very big fonts because नहीं तो you really don't compare apples to apples. Third वाला मैं disagree करूँगा. I don't think we should put it here because हम तो compare कर रहे हैं between something that is available. I think the decision is between plot or a building. So
I'm saying available ना भी हो अगर मैं project deliveries की बात करूँ, so the chances of default or delay in a construction project are much higher as compared to a plotted development because यहाँ पर builder को काम जाता है.
Right. तो काम ज़्यादा करना है obviously और उसमें भी
another thing is मैं आज एक 3-bedroom flat लेता हूँ, my family grows, my kids grow, my space is now limited. So if it is for self usage, at times an apartment can become smaller for my growing needs, possible. And एक बहुत बड़ी चीज अपार्टमेंट्स के अंदर होती है सी एफएआर अगर एक एरिया में ग्रो कर रहा है तो सब चीज के लिए ग्रो करेगा even for an apartment, but because apartments have a very long gestation, so rebuilding a redevelopment takes much longer because you have to get so many people on board. Everyone has to agree to a constant, a single redevelopment plan. So there your FAR or the value, locked value can stay locked for a very long time. This is slightly technical a point, so let me try and थोड़ा सा इसको मैं explain करता हूँ. I buy a plot of land. My FAR has increased from let's say 1 to 3.
The point is very clear. वहाँ पे this was an advantage क्योंकि that's a long term investment और आप FAR का advantage ले सकते हो. Double हो गया तो आपने 2 हो गया तो आप उसको double construction कर सकते हो, right? You were explaining FAR.
Yeah, I was saying in a constructed building, realizing the locked value of an FAR takes much longer duration because one has to get consent of larger participants. On the other hand, in a plot, it's either me or someone else I have purchased a plot with, so easier decision making.
So Vipul, finally, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो डिसीजन मेकिंग है वो तो सिंपल है. आपको हमेशा प्लॉट लेना चाहिए क्योंकि आप एफआर का एडवांटेज ले सकते हैं. आपके पास कंपाउंडिंग इफेक्ट है. आपको क्वालिटी ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन से सफर नहीं करना, उसको चेक नहीं करना. आपके पास कैपेसिटी भी नहीं है चेक करने की. यू डोंट हैव द टेक्निकल एबिलिटी टू चेक इट. ठीक है, आप किसी को हायर करके कर सकते हैं, बट देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ हैसल. खुद कंस्ट्रक्ट करवाएं तो अच्छा करवा सकते हैं, अपने डिजाइन से करवा सकते हैं. एंड ठीक है, कैश फ्लो नहीं है बट इन्वेस्टमेंट तो सेफ है एंड कंपाउंडिंग इफेक्ट है. तो एज एन इन्वेस्टर मुझे तो
आप कैश फ्लो को डिस्काउंट नहीं कर सकते विकास. जैसे जैसे समय बीतेगा, ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, कैश फ्लोज कैन बी वेरी वेरी हैंडसम बिकॉज फाइनेंसिंग इज चीप एंड देयर कैन बी हैंडसम कैश फ्लोज. सो मैं अगर इफ आई एम
कैश फ्लो कंपाउंडिंग से भी बेटर है, आप ये कह रहे हो? वो जो
कंपाउंड तो अपार्टमेंट का भी प्राइस होगा ना उसी कैश फ्लो के हिसाब से. ऐसा नहीं है कि अपार्टमेंट का प्राइस में कैपिटल एप्रिसिएशन नहीं आएगा. even the apartment price will appreciate.
And yeah, acha, that makes sense. ठीक है. So
Okay, if you ask me professional recommendation, what I would say is, if it is your own money or maximum money is yours and you're not really raising capital from the financial institutions, and cash flow is not really your priority, then you should go for a plotted investment. प्लॉट लीजिए, लंबे टाइम तक वेट कीजिए, आपको काफी अच्छे से बेनिफिट करके जाएगा. If
Or
you are someone who wants to raise maximum loan and is looking at a regular cash flow to offset the EMI also, then apartment would be more sensible to meet your investment needs or your asset development needs.
मतलब अगर आप लेवरेज का फायदा लेना चाहते हैं तो आप यू गो फॉर अपार्टमेंट, नहीं तो आप प्लॉट.
प्लॉट में भी अगर आप लेवरेज ले रहे हैं तो फिर आपको ये उम्मीद नहीं होनी चाहिए कि मेरे को कुछ EMI में मेरे को रेंट से या उससे कुछ मदद मिल जाएगी.
वो तो कॉस्ट ही रहेगा. इट्स एन इन्वेस्टमेंट इन टर्म्स ऑफ it's a cost to the investment.
So if you have your own money, if it is your own money, please go for a plot. If it is bank finance, then we should look at the two. We should compare the two investments. Then.
ठीक है. I think that's
not make a
quite satisfied. I think Vipul, क्योंकि it's a very simple guide. इस तरह से आप decide करेंगे तो I think you won't make a mistake. So qualitatively, I think Vipul, I've covered my questions.
Gotta focus on your